Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for passing by. As you may well tell from the title of this video, we are looking at finding the house, finding the perfect house for you. And if you are new to the channel, this is actually week 2 of a series that I'm doing. Currently called How to Buy a House, but it may well change by the time I've aired these videos. So something along the lines of how to buy a house from start to finish. So yeah, as I said, this week we're looking at finding the perfect house for you, and I really want to stress that for you bit, because it is what's right for you, not what's right for someone else or what someone else thinks right for you. It's about what you want, what you need, and helping you find that. So let's just get stuck in. So the first thing that you need to sort of have in place or consider when you're about to embark on your house search is that your finance is ready. You want to be in a position that if you found a house today, you can put in your offer, have it accepted, and not be stressed about what are you going to do about money. So if that's a mortgage, you need to have your agreement in principle. Many estate agents will actually ask you for this anyway, or ask if you've got it. So yeah, you need to have your agreement in principle. And these usually last about 6 months, so don't worry or don't get too caught up in the what if I don't find a house straight away or this week or next week, because they do give you a good window to actually find a property that's right for you. And also you'll need to have your deposit, or you should have your deposit ready and good to go. And one thing to note about your deposit as well is that they will also, further down the line, they will want to know like the 3-month history of that deposit, basically. So if it's savings that's been in your account, they'll need at least 3-month history of that bank statement. They'll need the 3-month bank statement for that account, just to show that it's been sitting there. And if you were gifted the deposit or you got a payout of some sort, and so there's a lump sum in your account for that deposit, they'll need to know why that is. So if it was transferred, so if you was gifted the deposit, they'll want to know who gave you that deposit, and they'll want to know their 3-month history of that. And if it was a payout of some sort, then they'll need proof that it's a payout. They just want to know, I think it's like money laundering and all that stuff, they just need to know the history of that that lump sum. And it's usually, and I do stand corrected, but I do think it's around 3 months. That's what they've asked me for anyway. So yeah, that's one thing to note about the deposit. So having your finance ready. Then another thing that I think is really important to consider when you're about to start looking for a house, or when you are looking for a house, is what's your 5-year plan. Having your 5-year plan really considered and thought through, because that is going to affect the kind of property that you need. So if, for instance, you're single, and you don't have any plan of having children in the immediate future, there's no man on the horizon or no woman on the horizon, it's just you, yourself and you, then that search is going to be different to someone who is planning to have a child, or what does your future hold in like your immediate future, that so far as you can plan. So think about that. Do you want a spare bedroom? Are you going to launch a new business where you actually need a studio space? Or what do you need? And not just what do you need today, but what do you need for the next few years? That's really important to consider, because this house that you're about to make a massive commitment to, you want to make sure that you are compatible with the house. And so thinking ahead a little bit, what do you need? What do you actually want to do? What can you see yourself doing? And how do you want to be able to grow into the house? You don't want to be there for 6 months and then you need to move again. Like, this isn't renting, this is you're making a major commitment. So that's one thing that I really think you should consider, is your 5-year plan, and long-term plan as well. Like, are you considering renting in the future? Is it going to become part of your portfolio? Like, what are your longer term plans? Because that can also steer what you want to do or what you want to look for. And then the third thing that I definitely consider and would recommend considering is your budget for renovations. Do you have a budget for renovations? Do you want to renovate, or do you want a turnkey property, basically something that you can buy today and move in tomorrow and not need to do a thing to? Again, these lead your searches as well. Turnkey properties, you're usually going to pay a bit more. If you're looking for a real cheeky bargain, you may well need to commit to doing some work. So what do you want to do and what can you afford to do? Those are good things to consider when you're looking for your property as well. And then fourthly, what's important to you? So this is like, I break this down into in the house, like in the home, and then also in the area, and then also the location as well. So in the house, like what features are important to you? I love high ceilings. I really like high ceilings. And I think I've mentioned this in one of my other videos as well. I love light. So light trumps the high ceilings for me. Like if it's a dark place, like even in the daytime it's just dark, I really don't like that. That's a complete turn off for a property for me. I won't be interested. But if it's really light, I just feel like, oh, like, yeah, this is good. So what features are really important for you in a home? And then in the area, like the actual area, you know, do you want to be in London? Do you want to be outside of London or Edinburgh or Manchester? Like, do you have a specific area? Do you want to be near family? Do you want to be, you know, within close but not too close? You know, where do you want to be? And then also location. So like, how close do you want to be to amenities? And I think that's what they're called, amenities, like shops and all them kind of things. Like, how close do you want to be to the train stations? How close do you want to be to those kind of things? Or do you want to be in a remote rural village and then you drive to wherever you need to be? Those are the kind of things that you need to sort of get your head around and ask yourself those questions. Schools are something that I'm having to think about for my next move now. It's actually, where's my daughter going to go to school? Like, so what schools are in the catchment area? That's like a whole new ball game of thinking about when I'm looking for somewhere else to live now. Like, when we move, it is legitimately up there, the first or second maybe, like what schools are in the area. But before I've even properly looked, I have had like a glimpse of the houses, like, yeah, these houses can run. Okay, so what are the schools saying? I've spent more time looking at schools in potential areas than I have at actual houses. So anyway, so that's just, as you can see, something that's important to me. But you'll see like what's important to you, and that can sort of guide your search for the areas. And also just sort of knowing what's a non-negotiable for you, but also being flexible whilst you're out there. Yeah, you can't just be so strict, because there's gonna be like some give and take. You know, you may be that lucky person who finds the house that is 100% every single thing that they want, but you may not. There may be something that's like 90 odd percent or 90%, or sometimes it's like it's 80 or 60%. But I'm a very true believer in your gut feeling. When you walk into the house, I truly believe that you just know that when you walk into this house, you just know that this is it. This is the one. I can't explain it. I know that it's dark and I like light. I know that the ceilings are low and I like high ceilings, but this is the one. So I would say don't override that gut feeling either. Like, just, yeah, that's that. So I feel like I went on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, be flexible, but also follow your gut as well. If something is everything you want on paper, but something in you is just like, nah, don't force it. Like, you will find something. And then my fifth and final one is due diligence. Now, we did speak about this in my, I think it was the property lingo video, but due diligence is basically when you really do your research, you really do your homework. So I've got a few factors of due diligence that you should be doing. Do your due diligence on the area. visit the area, drive around the roads, not just go to that house for that viewing and then go back home. Drive around the area at day, at night, because, you know, if you see a whole load of nighttime activity that you don't want to be a part of, then that's probably not an area you should be moving to. But yeah, so go around, do your sort of research and homework, investigate the area. Also the neighbours, if you happen to pass a neighbour or see them, you know, just ask them about the area and, you know, what's it like in the area, what kind of people are there. If the neighbours, every time you go, you see people that you just really don't want to be talking to, that again is a sign that maybe this isn't an area for you. And then look at comparables on the market. So if it's a property that you're buying, what are they selling for? What have houses in the area sold for? There are websites that can also tell you what that house has sold for, so you can see if that specific house has sold for, like, what did it sell for last, like when did the owner buy it and things like that. So that can help you gauge whether this property is really overpriced or if it's underpriced. And, you know, you can ask questions as to why. And that's another point. Ask why they're selling, because they might tell you some information that you don't want to know. Or not that you don't want to know, but that kind of, you don't want to buy a house with that problem because you would want to be moving too. So it's always good to ask why they're selling, because that's just good information to have. And also if they tell you, you know, they just need it gone ASAP because I don't know what reason why they could want it gone ASAP, but that can, you know, if they're a very motivated seller, you can be motivated to make a bit more of a cheeky offer. Now everyone needs to be happy at the end of the day, and if they're not happy they'll say no. So on one of my videos I did mention that you should be embarrassed of your first offer. So just, especially if they're a motivated seller, don't be too shy to put in that cheeky offer. If they can't accept it, they won't. So just don't shoot yourself in the foot because you're afraid of what somebody else might think or do or say. And yeah, I've said that one. Potential for renting. So this is for either if you're actually looking for a rental property, then there are things that you need to look for specifically to make it a good rental property. But if you are thinking like for long term, so this is like our 5 to 10 year plan, you may well be thinking that you want to keep it on but you'll want to rent it out, then just, you know, in the back of your mind be thinking, you know, how close is it to the train station, are there any hospitals around, because, you know, staff, nurses and student nurses, they need somewhere to live, so that's a good sort of place. Are there any factories nearby? Just sort of in the back of your mind be thinking, is this a good rental area? Is it close to schools? Is it, you know, is it a good family area, or is it a professional area? Like, so things like that, that they don't need to necessarily be driving your force, but they are things that you can be mindful of if in the future you do see yourself using it as a rental property. And yeah, so those are actually the 5 things that I would say that you should really consider and bear in mind when looking for a property to help you find your perfect property. And you put your cheeky offer in, and hopefully your first offer gets accepted, you never know. And then next week we're going to be looking at what happens after you've had your offer accepted, because it really caught me off guard. I don't know, I was a bit naive, but I just thought, you know, once you put your offer in, your mortgage gave them the money and that was that. But there are a few steps that happen once you've had your offer accepted. So next week we're going to be looking at that. But just to recap, finding your perfect property, have your finance ready, be clued up about your 5-year plan. Are you doing any renovations? If so, what's your potential budget for that? What's important to you in the house, the area, the location, and your due diligence. Do your due diligence. And that's it from me this week, guys. if you've got any other tips that you found really useful, comment them below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so that you can be kept up to date with any videos that come out. Wednesdays are our day, so Wednesdays at midday there will be another video out next week. All right, see ya, bye.